sir.
What do you think the future of keeping the no income tax is?
In New Hampshire?
Yes.
Well, I'm perhaps not the best person to ask at this point because I'm not in the legislature. So like you, I'm looking at it a little bit from afar. But here are my thoughts, and there are a couple of other state legislators here. If they want to chime in, please do so. When I was in the legislature, the Claremont decision had come down in 1997 saying that we had to fund education, that there had to be equal per pupil expenditures in every town around the state. And there was a response that some people wanted an income tax. Thankfully that was defeated and that threat passed, but the court is back at it again, mandating more money for education on an equalized basis across the state. The legislature has not passed a constitutional amendment that would allow for dedicated funding, more for some towns that are more in need and less for other towns that are less in need. That's the right answer, but to get a constitutional amendment through the legislature and then be voted on by all of us is a high hurdle, as well it should be, but in this instance, clearly necessary. So my view is that if we continue to have huge budget increases, and the last budget increase in the state of New Hampshire was 17%, and if we have hundreds of millions of dollars mandated by the court for education and the court threatening to take action, it's that kind of scenario that could lead to a broad-based tax. And I think it is a real threat, not likely to happen this year, but that the pressure is growing unless we have a constitutional amendment to change the way that the court interprets, the current court interprets the Constitution to mandate equalized education funding. And that is a threat, and there's, in my view at least, there's no accident why we have one of the highest per capita incomes in the country, why we have one of the lower unemployment rates, even at this difficult time now. The New Hampshire economy relative to other states is far better off. That's because we have a favorable tax climate. It's also no accident that many of the malls in New Hampshire are in a semicircle arc. You know, the Vermont border, the Mass border, the Maine border. That's because of no sales tax. So, you know, you talk to people in the retail community, it's a clear advantage to be able to advertise in Massachusetts, come to New Hampshire and purchase anything tax-free. Not low tax, tax-free. And we'd lose that advantage if we had a sales tax, at least in my view.
Thank you.